Can see the button, right? Okay, thank you, Mataji. So Hare Krishna, good evening everybody. Welcome to our Gita Gyan chapter 2 today. Today we're going to learn body and soul. Very interesting topic, right? So as usual, we will start by saying a prayer from Gita Gyan. It's not a prayer, it's a glorification. Devaki Nandana Krishna Gita Patena Tushyati Yatana Vede Danena Yajna Tirtha Vrtadibihi. The son of Devaki, Krishna's mother's name is Devaki. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, cannot be satisfied by anyone's study of the Vedas, charity, sacrifice, pilgrimage, or vows, as much as he is satisfied by the devotional recitation of the Gita. All right, so the explanation is that Krishna will be more satisfied when we worship him by reciting the Gita compared to studying of the Vedas, doing charity, doing sacrifice, performing pilgrimage, or taking up any vows. So this is mentioned in a scripture called Vaishnava Tantriya Sara. So every day we will have the same sloka. Okay, so we move on. Okay, so yesterday we introduced to you the deities of our temple, ISKCON KL, ISKCON Kuala Lumpur. We have a name for the temple. The temple's name is Sri Jagannath Mandir Kuala Lumpur, right? So the main deities, we call them presiding deities. So this is Krishna, Jagannath. This is Baladev, Balaram himself. And this is Subhadra Maharani, who is Durga herself. Okay, so we would like to offer our prayers to our spiritual teachers. So for a few days, I will be reciting. Maybe tomorrow I can have somebody to recite if you are familiar with it. All right, or if you want to try, I can send you the audio and you can practice and you can come and recite. All right, actually we can actually sing this, but in the beginning I would like to recite first so we can get the pronunciation properly. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You can follow on the other side, all right? You can remain muted and you can follow me, all right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. So this program is dedicated to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Okay. Gita Mahatmya. So we have, I can't recall who did I assign. Anybody remembers? I think it's Meera Mataji.
Yes,
is it?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I can read the Sanskrit. You can read the English. Is that okay?
Can.
Okay. Gita dhyayana shilasya pranayama parasya cha naiva santihi papani purva janma kritani cha.
If one reads the Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon him.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Let me just open up the sloka list. Okay. All right, so the sloka is explaining that if we read Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, focus, determination, enthusiasm, so God willing, Krishna willing, that our reactions means our reactions to our sinful deeds in the past will not act upon us. Okay. Okay, so basically, okay, we are entering chapter 2. So basically, I'm giving you a brief introduction to each chapter by talking about some of the points in the chapter and not all. Okay, so if you take chapter 2, you will see that this is one of the longest chapter. We have 72 slokas, so it's really not possible for us to cover 72 verses in just less than 1 hour. So we're just going to give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just 6 slokas. All right, so it's basically to get you inspired to read more and get the Bhagavad Gita to do so. We have Bhagavad Gita kit, right? At the end of the class, I will tell you what is inside the kit and you can order. All right. So the second chapter, basically, it has the whole Bhagavad Gita condensed in it. So that's why it's very long. It has got information about body and soul, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. In Sanskrit, there is a name for this title. It's called Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga means analytical study of body and soul. So it is about analysis of body and soul. Okay. All right. A quick recap from yesterday. All right. So anybody remembers one of the 5 reasons Arjuna gave to Krishna that he doesn't want to fight? Just put in the chat whatever that you remember, because as we move on, it has very close relation what Krishna's gonna speak. Compassion, that's right, number 1. Next, no enjoyment, correct. Next, C, E, yes, says D is correct. That's the acronym for the, yes, fear of sinful reactions, correct, Mataji. 2 more, right? Destruction of family tradition, all right? Indecision, well done, Mataji, well done. Okay. Tradition, correct. Okay, compassion for friends and relatives. No enjoyment even if victorious. Fear of sinful reactions. Destruction of family tradition. So we have covered this 4 in the previous chapter. So today we will see this indecision. Okay, so basically what is the practical application we are looking here is, it's about Arjuna's condition that illustrates the result of being very conscious of self-consciousness. All right, and he will express his frustration and inability to reach to a sound conclusion, to fight or not to fight. So this chapter is about that. All right. So what do we do usually when we don't know what to do, when you are in persimpangan dilemma, or you are in dilemma, you are lost for decision, you don't know how to decide? Usually what do you do when you are faced with such situation? Mataji Prabhus, what do you do usually? Give me 1 or 2 examples. What do you do usually? Seek advice, pray, talk to my mother. Tarik nafas betul-betul, yeah. Right. Tarik nafas, okay, fine, we are gonna calm ourselves down. But when you don't know how to make a decision, like you talk to your mother, you want somebody to give a helicopter view. Okay, what is this? What is that? Right? And then sometimes you seek a guide, like a teacher or a friend or anybody that you can confide in, right? Yes, speak from the right person. Agree, Mataji. Correct. All these are correct. So that is what Arjuna is also doing. And he's got a good friend next to him. Write it down. Yeah, write it down. And then let's say you still don't know how to decide. You have to ask an external person, right? Okay. So this is the first sloka for us today. All right, we are not starting from 2.1. We just zoom to 2.7. Harini Mataji, are you ready?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, Mataji.
Okay. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava prakshami tvam dharma sammuda chetaha yakshreya nishitam ruhi tatanme shishyatiham sadimam tvam prapannam. So now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all my composure because of merciless weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I'm your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me.
Thank you, Harini Mataji. You sang it very sweetly. Do you always recite Sanskrit slokas? Do you always
No,
do prayer?
Mataji.
Oh my
No.
God. Really? Yeah? Very nice. Very sweet, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Welcome. So see, yeah, we like to, yeah, I'm getting message actually. Somebody sending me private message that you're very sweet. Yeah, so like this, we support each other, okay? It gives encouragement and inspire others also to join us. Okay, Karpanya Dosho Pahata Swabhava. Prichami Tvam Dharma Samudacheta Yatreya Shanischitam Bruhitan me Sishyastiham Shadi Mam Taparnam. Okay, Sishya. What do you understand by this word? Shishya. I am your disciple. Student. Shishya means disciple. Shadi Mam, please instruct me. Okay. Now I am confused about my duty. Okay, so now we heard in the first chapter how Krishna was taking orders from Arjuna. So Arjuna said, bring the chariot into the middle of the battlefield. I want to see who has come here to fight. All right, that's all right. He asked Krishna to take the chariot in the middle of the battlefield. But later on, Krishna smartly brought Arjuna's chariot right in front of his dear teachers, Dronacharya and Bhishma, because he knows what's going to happen, because he knows Arjuna loves them so much. So, as expected, Arjuna was feeling dejected and was already unwilling to fight. Gandiva bow was slipping. He had a lot of symptoms, 10 symptoms, and he gave 6 arguments. He gave 5 already. Okay, now this is the 6th. This is the 6th. This is a indecision. That's the reason I don't know how to make a decision. I don't know whether to fight or not to fight. That is the indecision that Arjuna is facing. So what is the situation here? The situation here is he was feeling confused about his duty. What is the duty of a warrior? He's a Kshatriya, isn't it? As a warrior, his duty is to fight. As a student, the duty is to study. As a wife, the duty is to serve the husband. As the mother, the duty is to serve the children. So like this, we all have our duties, isn't it? So as Kshatriya, Arjuna has a duty, and that is to fight. But now he's saying he's confused because he started to have compassion towards the people that he's going to kill. He knows he's going to win and they're going to die. He doesn't want that, because it's not because he's a coward. He's not because of that. Okay, so we will see why. But in this situation, he had a lot of good fortune, because on his side, who he has Lord Krishna with him as his chariot driver. So after seeing all the people's family, friends and relatives, he becomes confused. And then he turned to Krishna, asked him to help him and instruct him. If you see the chapter 1 in Bhagavad Gita, you read, Arjuna will give lots of arguments, like very expert. He will give all the, because of this will happen, because of this will happen. But at the end, he's lost. He's lost for decision. So what is Arjuna's problem? Arjuna's problem is what he mentioned here as miserly weakness. Okay, why this miserly weakness happens? It's because of this. Because of his attachment to body. All right, his body and the people's body, right, that they're going to die. All right, so this is the cause of his confusion as to what he should do. All right, however, he was very intelligent to have taken the opportunity to surrender to Krishna. So what is the lesson we can learn from here? It is important to surrender to the Supreme Lord and take instruction from Krishna or representative of Krishna. All right, by saying representative of Krishna, it means a guru, a teacher, a devotee, those who have understood Krishna, those who have served Krishna. So they can give that knowledge. All right, you have a problem, you go to a teacher who knows how to advise you. If the teacher lacks of knowledge or experience, that person cannot give appropriate advice. So thus your problem cannot be solved effectively. All right, so here the spiritual teacher, later in chapter 4 we will come to what kind of teacher you should select, right, and what you should do. what you should give, what you should take, all this Krishna will explain in chapter 4. So for now, this is a condensed version of the whole Bhagavad Gita, right? So we will just touch on that, right? How the guru should come from a proper lineage, what kind of guru that you should take, all right? So every living being like you and I, we all have mother and father. Nobody has come without father or mother. However, not everybody will get a spiritual master. All right, Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. So not everybody will get a spiritual master. Only a fortunate soul, those who are very sincerely seeking spiritual realization, spiritual knowledge. So for that kind of person, Krishna will send that kind of guide, right? Bona fide representative, so we call that. All right. So conclusion is Arjuna is already at a perplexed situation, confused, but yet he was eager for enlightenment. Please instruct me. Arjuna recites this verse, please instruct me. So at this point of time, another point that we want to note is that, you know, Krishna and Arjuna, they are cousins, all right? And they are also very dear friends. But at this point of time, until now, Krishna has not spoken, isn't it? Arjuna has now come down to a position where I am your disciple, you are my guru, now you instruct me. So the relationship has changed from friendship to cousinship to guru-disciple relationship. Okay, so when you take that kind of relationship, you won't be debating anymore. You will pose submissive inquiries, seek clarification, but you won't be challenging. It won't be in a challenging mode anymore, right? Okay, so that's 2.7. It's a very important verse, so that's why I explain a little, spend a little time on this. Okay, this is a very good verse. Jai Prabhu, are you ready?
Yeah. Dehinam simyanda dehe kaumaram yauvanam jaram tatta dehantra pratir teras tatra namahyude.
Nice, Mataji.
Thank you.
As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at late. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu and Mataji. Very nice. Anybody doesn't understand any of the word here? Okay, I can explain. Okay, I will explain, but if you're still not clear, you can ask me, okay? As the embodied soul means soul, right? Atma, right? Soul. Embodied means the soul that has a body. Yeah, okay. So as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body, so you want to ask, how does the soul continuously pass in our body? Okay, so Krishna says, from boyhood to youth, when you are a baby, you are still Miss Amuda, right? When you are 5 years old, you are still Miss Amuda. When you are 16 years old, you are still Miss Amuda. When you are 26 years old, you are still Miss Amuda. When you are 60, you still will be Miss Amuda. So like that, the soul remain the same inside the body when the body changes, all right? From boyhood to youth to old age. Then what happens after that? The soul similarly passes into another body at death. It takes another vehicle, another machine, another form. All right. So this thing, it happens continuously. Okay, just like you read one book and put, and then you take another book and then you put. So like that, it goes on. Yesterday's dress you throw, and then you today take another dress, and then tomorrow you take another dress. So like this, it goes on. So what Krishna is saying here, a sober person means a person who is has achieved equilibrium, means who is not disturbed. So the opposite word for sober is disturbed, right? A person who is drunk, we can say he's not sober. So that's a very easy example, right? He's not sober. So here, a person who understands this science, that soul passes from body to body, a sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Okay, so you see here, there's a picture here. Now this guy, he bought a parrot. He put the parrot in a golden cage. Now every day, he wipes this cage. Very shiny, very nice. Okay, he wipe. But you know, after 6 days, the parrot died. Anybody knows what happened to the parrot? Why that happened to the parrot? Anybody knows? Anybody would like to take a guess? He takes care of the cage very well. Okay, let's see the answer. No food. Yes. He was so concerned about taking care of the external body of the parrot, right? External environment of the parrot, but he did not feed the parrot. So the parrot died. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, where we spend a lot of time and money in taking care of the body, but we neglect our soul. All right. He did not fulfill what is truly needed. Yes, correct. All right. So just like us, right? You can do lots of makeups and dress up so nicely, but you need to give food for your stomach. Otherwise, how would we live, right? So yeah, so that is important. And the point here in this verse is this: a sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Okay. So this is important, yeah? Okay, later quiz get correct, okay? Don't get wrong, right? Okay, so we move on. Okay, I have explained this part here. You can see this picture, if you can see, from boy to youth to a young adult to adult, and then the person dies and then starts again. Here also same, the same picture. Now from here you can see the person growing and dying, growing and dying, growing and dying. Now, are we certain that we are going to get human body next? Now, this is a summary of just now, from boyhood to youthhood. Sorry, forgot the H there. Old age. And at the end, we're getting a new body. So why Krishna is saying this? Because Arjuna was so worried that he's going to kill Bhishma and Drona. But Krishna is indicating here that Bhishma and Drona will get fresh bodies. So this way, Krishna is addressing Arjuna's first reason for not fighting, which is compassion. Okay, and also because they have been very noble people, right? They will get spiritual, at least higher planet. When they die, they will go to a higher planet. Okay, so remember how we can be sober. It's not by conquering the death or praying for a long life or praying for a painless death. It's the sober person is who is not bewildered by such a change. So that's an important point here. Now, earlier we saw how the soul passes in this body, and then at the point of death, it passes on to another body. Now we want to see what is beyond that. 2.22. Jai Shana Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, Mataji. Try.
Vasamsi jirnani yata vihaya navani grahnadi naruparani tata sarirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyani navani dehi. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Then
Okay, sorry, Mataji. Mataji, you finished reading, right?
yes, Mataji.
Okay, so I will just explain now. So thank you, Mataji. Okay, so here Krishna is talking how we are changing body like how we change dress. So this is another example how the Lord is giving us example, give us explanation how the soul transmigrates. So earlier the body changes, right? So now the soul transmigrates from one body into another body. So like earlier I mentioned, we are changing clothes. So this person has changed from black attire to brown attire. However, the person remain the same. So like this, you can see here, there's a small picture here. I will bring it up later individually. All right. So you see here, there is a particular place where the soul resides in our heart. All right. If you notice, when we transplant our heart, we do not change our personality, isn't it? So why? The soul, they are saying the soul resides in the heart, right? So actually, technically, it is not residing in the heart, but it's residing in the region of the heart. So this is mentioned in a scripture called Mundaka Upanishad. Okay. So I will show you this picture here. Now you can see we are changing body from aquatic to, bigger animals, and then become human, and then there are chances that we are going back to animal kingdom again, and then based on our actions and reactions, we are taking a particular type of body consistently, which means we have been taking so many lifetimes to have come to a human body we don't know. All right, so in Padma Purana, it is mentioned that there are 8.4 million species of lives. Not 8.4 millions of living entities. It's for 8.4 million of species of life. Like a monkey is a species, bird is a species. In the bird, there are so many species. And if you want to know the breakdown, it is mentioned in Padma Purana that there are 900,000 species of aquatics, 2 million species of plants, 1.1 million species of insects, worms, reptiles. So like this, there are breakdown. And guess how many species are there for humans? There are 400,000 species of humans. So these are based on consciousness. Okay, some of these species may exist on one planet and not on another. So even on the sun planet, there are living entities. Who would want? It's amazing. There are living entities everywhere. So this is the verdict of Vedic literatures. Okay. So we move on to know what are the characteristics of soul. Okay, so there are quality, like we have our certain qualities and characteristics of ourselves, right? So the soul also has. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, the soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon. You cannot use knife or anything to cut the soul. All right. No burnt by fire, fire resistant. No moistened by water. No withered by wind. Like when the wind blows, your soul doesn't jump out of the body. Right? It's not like that. Right. So this individual soul is unbreakable. So you continue to read here, right? Insoluble, you cannot mix in water and it goes dissolved, and can be neither burned nor dried. Okay, he is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. So like I mentioned earlier, when you move the heart, it doesn't mean you are moving the soul. Also, when the wind blows, it doesn't indicate the soul will jump out of the body. So it's immovable. So if you notice here, Krishna already mentioned here burned by fire, and then here again he mentions burn. Why? Because in Sanskrit, whenever this is acceptable in Sanskrit grammar, because the more repetitions are there, it means there's very strong emphasis given to this. It's neither burned by fire, neither burned. So like this, Krishna also in few places he will repeat certain things. Okay, sometimes he will say here again, he will say that. All right. And what else? Present everywhere. Okay, so the soul is present in one part of the body. However, you can feel the presence of the soul throughout your body. In what way? That is called consciousness. That is the symptom of a soul is consciousness. So if you visit a funeral, right? You see the person is lying down on the floor, right? And then why people say, "Ayo, poitane," why? Because the body is still there, isn't it? So where has he gone? He's still there, right? So what has gone? The substance that has gone, the element that has left the body is the soul, right? So when the soul is inside the body, you can feel the presence everywhere. So that is the meaning, present everywhere. Unchangeable, you cannot change, all right? Immovable, okay? And eternally the same, it will never change, right? It is said that the soul is invisible, like you cannot see with your material eyes. So that you see here, if you use microscope also, you cannot see that. Inconceivable, the power that the soul has, nobody can understand it. Yes, Mataji. The soul does not have a body. It's like you are the driver, and you have a car, isn't it? So you can leave the car. So the car is not part of you. All right. So when you leave the car is lifeless. It's got no meaning, right? And immutable. Like we have lots of mutations of virus and all, right? So the soul is immutable. All right. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body. Now, when I say invisible, why we cannot see the soul? It is mentioned in a scripture called Kali Santarana Upanishad that the size of the soul is so tiny that when you take a tip of your hair, you divide that into 1,000, and then you take another, that one portion you take to and then you divide into another 1,000. All right, that is how minute it is. So if you calculate, it's like 1/10,000 of the tip of your hair. It's like that. Okay, that, yeah, so that is how small it is. That's why you can't see it under the microscope. Okay, all right, so what are the evidences that the soul transmigrate, meaning change from body to body? We call that reincarnations. So we have evidences like this that has given real life stories of people who could recall their past lives. We have movies also, but we have real books written by people who can remember their past lives. Okay, so there are so many books here. You can simply Google, right? But I will give you one example here. This person's name is Sukla. So this is a young girl. When she was a little bit more than 5, she was able to she started asking her parents, where is this person, where is this person, where is that person, what happened to this person? So the parents were so puzzled, what is she talking about? Is she got some problems or something? And then they took her to one expert, and he realized that this girl could actually remember what has happened in her past life. All right, so initially they rubbished her. They thought she's just blabbering or some imagination of children or something like that. But they thought, okay, let's give it a try and see whether whatever she's saying is correct or not, true or not, whether this village is there, the family is there, and all that. So they actually took her to that place where she mentioned that she was from. So when she reached, she was on the bus, something like that, she was able to tell, oh, this building was not here, now the building is here. So true enough, there were people to confirm that, yes, that is true. And she has not gone out of her existing place. So that was very surprising for them. So finally, when they reached the home that she was talking about, all right, she was immediately able to recognize her sons, her father-in-law, mother-in-law, her husband. Now the husband's like very old already. So they thought maybe it's a coincidence or what, but she started calling them with nicknames. So that's pretty amazing. And she also actually ran to a place where she hidden some money before she died in an accident, and then she saw there's a container with no money there, and then the husband admitted, oh yeah, I used that money for something. So all this concluded that whatever the girl was saying was true, that she has actually reincarnated in another girl's body. All right, anyways, this does not happen every time, but it happens sometime. Anyway, it's a big topic, so we will not go more on this. All right, so basically what Krishna is trying to say here is Krishna is trying to defeat Krishna's argument or reason about compassion, being compassionate, with all this explanation. All right, so Arjuna at that point of time, he did not understand the eternal condition of the soul. He thought we are body, and then I'm going to kill them, and then they will die, So Krishna is telling here, so there is no need to worry about your old clothes. Nobody will worry about your old clothes. We will not cry over a discarded cloth. That's why he's saying, because you're going to get new body. Because basically, because Arjuna was so worried for Bhishma and Dronacharya, right? So why should we lament for old body when we're going to have new body? Okay, like we move on. 2.47, we have Kirtana Mataji.
Hi Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Karmanye varikaraste ma paleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbur ma te sangosva karmani. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty.
Thank you, Mataji. All right, so there are a few points here. You have a right to perform a prescribed duty. So most of the time people argue here, this is my right, I'm going to do it. But they often forget there's another line, there's another phrase that follows, but you're not entitled to the fruits of action. This is what Krishna is saying. Your right is to perform your duty to fight. However, whatever result that comes out of it are not yours. Right? So you should never consider yourself as the cause of the results of your activities. You're merely doing your duty, and do your duty. So there's another place later on Krishna will say, it is better for you to do your duty imperfectly instead of doing another person's duty perfectly. Right? So that's how profound Krishna's advice is. Just do your duty according to your position. We call it ashram. So ashram is your position, your role in the society. So you do your duty based on that. So the role of Arjuna in the society is as a warrior is to fight. All right, and then Krishna says, and never be attached to not doing your duty. Right? You should not be attached to the results that you're going to create by performing your duty. That is one. Like when you perform something and then you receive an achievement or a loss or something, and then you feel so attached to that. Krishna is telling you, don't do that. Don't be attached to your results. Oh, okay, great, then I don't have to do anything. So which means I will not get any results. So I'm free, isn't it? Krishna said, no, that is also an attachment, because you're being attached to not doing your duty. All right, so let that sink in slowly. So Krishna said, do your duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits of action. Means do not get attached to the fruits of your action. Never consider yourself as the cause of results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So here Krishna is already touching on what we call karma yoga or buddhi yoga. Karma means work. Karma basically is work, activities, actions, karma. Buddhi means intelligence. So he's already touching karma and buddhi yoga, which Krishna will elaborate in chapter 3 and 5. All right, so you will hear more of these details, how to do this, how to surrender the result, how to do duty without being attached. Is that even possible? So Krishna is giving all these guidelines. All right, so just recap from what we saw earlier. The first lesson in yoga, in any yoga, is that to understand that we are not the body, we are the soul. All right, and then Krishna is saying, do your duty, but you should not be attached to your fruits of the actions. And then you don't consider yourself as being the controller, being the cause of your activities. So your qualification is to fight. So you should take part in the battle. All right, and then this one is basically this is about detachment. Why? Because we see people are very attached to enjoying the results of their work. But if you want to take up yoga or spiritual realization, then you need to slowly be detached from all these things. Okay, so do it as your duty, and with that you will not get any sinful reactions. Okay, all right, so we move on to 49. Okay, Lesha Mataji is not available, so I will read. Durena hyavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanam anvicha kripana phalahetavaha. So Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Dhananjaya. Dhananjaya means a person who has conquered wealth, rich person, right? O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant. Abominable means activities that are not good, negative activities, all right? Far distant by doing what? By performing devotional service. And in that consciousness, surrender unto the Lord. Again, Krishna is talking about karma and buddhi yoga. Surrender. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. Okay, basically you can say they are materialists. They don't know how to utilize the fortune that they have. They do the work thinking they are the controller, and then they are so attached to the result. They want to enjoy their results. All right. Okay, let's say you, for example, you do a business and then you earn so much and then you want to enjoy everything for yourself. Yeah, so that is called materialist. So Krishna is saying, don't do that, right? If you want to be a karma yogi, then you should surrender the results. So that is that. So if you can see some pictures here, this Gurukul in Mayapur. Gurukul means where the children learn things in a spiritual way. They have to wake up early, they have to cook on their own, very basic, simple life. So I've been to this place and their kitchen is very, very simple. They use clay pots and things like that. They grow their vegetable and then the boys cook, all right? So they do that. And then there is, this is a cow farm. So, you know, the world it's said to be can be very peaceful and self-sufficient if every family has a cow and grow their own crops. All right, so now we are locked down and then there's panic buying. We cannot get food. So then we will wish, oh, I wish I have a garden, right? This is self-sufficiency. Okay, so which means people work in this consciousness. They earn sufficiently and then they surrender the results to Krishna. All right, and this is kirtan. You know, you do an activity in devotional service. So in that consciousness, surrender unto the Lord. Okay. So this way Krishna is encouraging Arjuna by saying, oh Dhananjaya. Okay. Okay, we move on to 2.65. Mahana Mataji. Okay, I will read. Prasade sarvadukhanam hanir asya pajayate prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhi paryavatishtate. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. So basically, Krishna is saying in text 65 that without being God conscious, without being spiritually enlightened, we will never be satisfied. We always feel disturbed, unsettled. These are few of the symptoms of people in Kali, right? Restless, always in anxiety, quarreling, fighting, forgetfulness. So these are all symptoms. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a whole list of symptoms of Kali. All right. So Krishna is saying for one who is satisfied, means you are satisfied when you perform devotional activities, you are satisfied. For such people, this will not affect them. What is that? Threefold miseries. Okay, so I will tell you what are these threefold miseries. Okay, I bring up this one. So there are three kind of misery. Threefold miseries means three kind of miseries. First is Adi Daivika. Adi Daivika means distress caused by material nature. Okay, like what? Earthquake, famine, scarcity of food, over rain, no rain, extreme heat, extreme winter, right? Extreme cold. These are all distress caused by material nature. So one way or other, we are affected by these three types of miseries. All right. Next is Adhyatmika. Adhyatmika means distress pertaining to body and mind. So as long as we have body, we always have discomfort, isn't it? Even a person who is really rich, sometimes they commit suicide, like celebrities, right? Why? Because they are not peaceful, they are not satisfied. All right. So they have got all resources to enjoy. So why they are committing suicide? That means there is no ananda. Ananda means happiness. So even if you possess the best of the material things, it doesn't guarantee happiness. All right. So the third one. So you remember, Adi Daivika means material nature. Atmika. So this is a keyword for you if you want to remember. Adhyatmika means body and mind. Finally is Adi Bhautika. Adi Bhautika means we are troubled by other living entities. All right, it could be bugs, mosquito, many others. Just like you're passing on the road, suddenly dogs coming and barking at you or chasing you. So this is all Adi Bhautika. So why Krishna is saying this now? He's saying when a person is always in equilibrium state, a realized person who engage in devotional service, they have a calm, stress-free, and more composed. All right, remember when Arjuna said losing composure. All right, so if you perform this, you're steady, right? So these miseries will not affect you. Means it's not like you will be aloof of this, but it's that you won't feel disturbed with it. You will be able to tolerate it. So in 2.14 actually, which a verse which is not covered here, I can read to you. That is a verse Krishna says, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course. Okay, remember, yeah, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer season. So our happiness and distress comes and goes like winter and summer season. They arise from sense perception. So we feel, oh, it's cold, so I feel bad. Oh, it's hot, oh, I feel bad. You know, like that. It's because it's cold, you don't want to take shower? No, right? If it's hot, you don't want to cook. We have to keep going on with our duty, right? So that's why Krishna is saying, they arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So this is what Krishna is saying in chapter 2. Okay? This is not actually in your original slide, but since I've added this, I will give you this, right? Actually, we have come to the end already, but I have a small story there, so don't leave yet. Okay, we want to recap. Anybody can remember what we covered the first thing? How we actually started this chapter? If you can do it fast, then we can go to the story. What Krishna was telling Arjuna, Arjuna was telling Krishna. Yes, Arjuna is surrendering. Why he surrendered? What is the cause? Yes. Yes, correct. Very good, Mataji. Yes. This is the reason. Indecisiveness of Arjuna and surrender to Krishna. Correct. You all are correct. Seeking Krishna's help. Very good, Mataji. Okay. So why he felt that? Why he was confused and lost, and why he felt compassionate towards people around him. Thus he doesn't want to fight. What was the problem to him? We want that problem statement. What is the problem? If you do a science experiment, we want the problem statement, right? Yes, Lata Mataji, very sharp, because I put the red there, right? The red caption there, because he was attached to body. So because of that, what Krishna decided to give him? What kind of knowledge? What did we go through? 2.13. Yes, Vaishnavi Mataji. What sloka is that? What is the essence of that verse? Yes, 2.13, correct. What is the essence of the sloka? It's very, very important. Okay, before that. Sorry, Prabhu. Sorry? I couldn't hear. Soul gets a new body. Yes, soul versus body. Soul changes bodies. And then we saw another sloka, 2.22. What happened? How does the soul change? Like what? What is the analogy was given? Analogy means an example. Changing clothes. Body is a covering like a dress. Or yes, except new body. And then Krishna went on to talk about a little bit more about soul. What else? Yes, after that. Okay, yes, all right. Okay, so far, okay, Mataji. So we move on to the next aspect of what we covered today. Do you remember? I read like 2, 3 paragraphs with all the small pictures. What were they? What Krishna was talking about the soul. Characteristics of soul. Yeah, can you give me some more? Non-destructible, immutable, um, fire resistant, moist resistant, water resistant, right? Immovable, all that. Very good, cannot capture. Okay, so now you know already. You have a basic knowledge about soul versus body. So you don't end in saying to tell somebody, we are body, we are not body, we are soul. So, and then after that, and then you see the soul changes in our body when we grow, but after that it goes to another body. But beyond that, it changes body like dress. And then there are characteristics of the soul. So you can talk about this. So when you talk about this to people that you know, you will also remember. All right. So it's good to share with others as well. All right. So our body soul topic ends there. And then Krishna went on to talk about something about Arjuna being a warrior and then he has to fight. Anybody can tell me what you remember? Duty, very good. So how do you perform it? With what kind of attitude? Very good. Detachment. Okay. Tak sempat I want to ask question already. All right, we must do our duty and don't think about the fruits of action. Very good. That's good. On point. Next, then Krishna move on to say, by doing devotional service, what are we avoiding actually? What is that word? Start with A. Before distress. Avoid what kind of activities? What happens when you raise children giving spiritual knowledge from when they were small? What kind of person they will become? Will they go into robbery, murder, crime, drug? Do they go? I mean, generally speaking. Yes, abominable. Very good, Lasini Mataji. Congratulations. So we avoid abominable activities by working for Krishna. So this one, Krishna already touching on devotional service already. On 2.47, he was talking about karma yoga. So like myself, I grew up since 5 years old in Devaram, right? Here I joined about when I was 20 years old. So from like 15 years they were my family all from there. So none of our family have any issues with attitude or discipline or crime. So like that you also can tell, you have your family when you are right when you place your children righteously, so you will not have this problem. So that's how important it is to engage ourselves and our children or family in devotional activities. Okay, perut abdominal. It's okay, Mataji, no problem. All right, and then comes the threefold misery. Such a satisfied person. What kind of satisfied person? A person who is properly situated in performing devotional activities or spiritual activities. They are not affected by the threefold miseries. Okay, so that's the recap. So we have a small story here. It shows how Krishna protects somebody who is engaged in this kind of devotional activities. So actually if anybody needs to leave, you can carry on. Okay, you can catch up on the recording if you want, because I only have story to tell. So this is a king named Ambarisha Maharaj. Now this Ambarisha Maharaj, of course, being a king, he's very wealthy, isn't it? However, what is so special about this Ambarish Maharaj is that he engages all his senses in doing service to Krishna. For example, he engages his hand in cleaning the temple. He engages his feet in walking to the temple, doing good things. And then he engages his eyes in seeing the deity, the Lord. All right. And then he engages his mouth and belly by eating only food cooked and offered to Krishna, sanctified spiritual food. So like this, all is engaged. His senses are engaged. Ears for hearing about spiritual topics about Krishna, and the tongue and the mouth engaged in talking about Krishna, glorifying Krishna. So like this, he's an epitome of someone who could engage all the senses in performing devotional service. So what happened was that yesterday somebody mentioned this Muni's name, Durvasa Muni. So Durvasa Muni in the scriptures is very famous for his short temper. He gets angry very fast, but he's a very powerful Muni. So what happened? He heard of Ambarisha Maharaj before, so he's got this envy about this person, this king. So he went with his whole entourage. He went to see this king one day, and that day happened to be Ekadasi day. So on Ekadasi day, usually the devotees of Vishnu, they fast from grains. They only take non-grain food like milk, water, fruits, nuts, that kind of thing. However, Ambarish Maharaj was doing full fast, which means he can break his fast by drinking water, which is still not considered a breaking, because when you break your Ekadasi fast, you have to put in grain like rice. So you cannot take noodles or pasta or wheat or bread like that during Ekadasi. We also practice doing this Ekadasi fasting twice in a month. So he was having this fasting towards the breaking time. You need to break your fast at certain time, just like how the Malays, they book up puasa, right? From this time to this time, you have to break your fast. All right. So at that point of time, that day, the breaking fast time was very short. So he immediately has to break fast during that particular minutes, So what happened? This Durvasa Muni, he came with his group and he said, I want to break fast with you. So let's break fast together, because Durvasa Muni was also fasting. Then King Ambarisha said, okay, can carry on. Let's come join me like that. And then Durvasa Muni said, oh, wait a minute. I want to go and take a shower and come. So Durvasa Muni left. And Durvasa Muni was gone for a long time, and the time was running for King Ambarisha to break the fast. So what he did was, he just took some water. So the water can be considered breaking fast for Ambarisha, but however, it's not considered breaking fast as well. So he can still eat with Durvasa Muni. But when Durvasa Muni came back and he saw King Ambarisha already taken water, he got so angry. He was so angry that he actually took a tuft of his hair and he threw and he created a demon out of his hair. So this demon he launched to attack King Ambarisha. So what happens, because King Ambarisha was such a staunch devotee of Lord Vishnu released his Sudarshan Chakra. So if you can see here, there's a bright wheel here, like a sun, right? So Sudarshan Chakra Mahajwala means he's so effulgent. Then immediately this Sudarshan Chakra came and beheaded the demon. So the demon died. Now the Sudarshan Chakra did not stop. The Sudarshan Chakra went after Durvasa Muni pula. So Durvasa Muni ran everywhere seeking help from everybody that he knows. Alright, so to cut the story short, finally Durvasa Muni went to Lord Vishnu, because Lord Vishnu was the one who released the chakra. And then the Lord said, well, you actually offended my devotee, and the Sudarshan Chakra is out to teach a lesson. So you need to go back to Ambarisha Maharaj and seek forgiveness. So only a devotee can forgive you for the offenses. However, a real pure devotee, usually they will not take offense. They are very forgiving. They are very compassionate. So if you can see this picture here, Durvasa Muni is lying on the floor holding King Ambarisha's feet. Please forgive me. I've made an offense. You are such a great devotee. I should not have acted like that. And King Ambarisha requested Sudarshan Chakra to calm down and return to Lord Vishnu. So this is how the Lord protects his devotees when they are fully engaged in his devotional service. All right, so yeah, so Maharaj Ambarish is an example of a devotee who engaged all his senses in the service of the Lord. All right, so this is a wonderful story how you can work in God consciousness. All right, see, a sadhu is touching the feet of a king. He's a normal king. He's doing his job. He's fighting and he's ruling country. He's managing affairs. All right, you don't have to be a sadhu, go into cave and meditate. You don't have to do that. Okay, so we go back to the story where the person who was keeping the cage very beautiful without feeding the parrot. So like that, we also can feed our soul. How do we feed ourselves? So these are all vegetarian items prepared for the Lord. So usually we prepare vegetarian items free from onion, garlic, and we put one tulsi leaf on each of the dish and we offer to the Lord, and then we say mantra to offer And then before we eat also we say mantra. So this is food for the body. However, there is also food for the soul, which is the nama japa. Nama japa. Nama means name, right? Japa means jabam, right? It's a meditation. You chant. So that is called holy name, chanting of the holy name. So it is also called japa meditation. This is also a form of meditation. Your mind is engaged on Krishna. So when you close your eyes to meditate, you will not fall asleep, you know. So can I request everybody to unmute and we chant this mantra 3 times and then we can end the class. Can everybody unmute and we chant it, okay? Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
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 Rama,
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 Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama
Rama, Rama,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
and
Hare
everybody.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Jai. Thank you, everybody. So please, if you do not have Bhagavad Gita yet, please get this copy. All right. We will deliver to you, and please finish your quiz by 12 o'clock because they will tabulate your results after that. And if you fill up after that, it will not appear in the depository. Okay, and thank you for all the feedbacks. Okay, I will always look at your questions also, so I'll try to insert the answers in between. If I could not answer you in the class, so please you can PM me or call me or ask me to call you back. I can address like that. Okay, and yes, this is our temple, but right now it's closed. Okay, any questions at this moment? You can ask me now. Okay, we have 15 people today. It's good. Okay, if there's no question,